Hi everyone, it's Nicole Spohr and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to share a trio of All the Feels fall cards with you, showcasing several new products from the Simon Says stamp Make Merry release. And I know with the name Make Merry you're thinking Christmas, and there is a ton of Christmas and holiday stamps, dies, and stencils in the release, but there's also some fantastic fall products, and I wanted to showcase those now in case you guys are working on some fall themed or thankful type of cards. I'm going to start with some 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch backgrounds. This is some smooth white cardstock, Nina 110-pound weight. I removed the foam pad from my Misty and I placed in there the reverse crackle background. Now this is not a brand new product for the Make Merry release, but it is still fairly new. And if you guys have been here a while, you know I love the crackle backgrounds, and I thought it would be fun to show how we can layer some leaves over this crackle background for an instant, interesting background on our cards. So one of the backgrounds I stamped with Simon Says stamp Fossil ink. That was the first one I did. And then the next one I stamped with Simon Says stamp Khaki. And as that dye ink dries, it's going to absorb into the cardstock and kind of smooth and flatten out a bit. Now, I didn't show it on camera, but I actually stamped 3 backgrounds, so we're going to have a little bonus card here in a bit. For our first background, we're going to be using the brand new Falling Leaves layering stencils. I love me a good layering stencil. I don't know about you, but it just makes it so easy and it makes you look so good. So I am placing my first layer down and using some Crackling Campfire Distress Oxide ink to ink up this first layer of leaves. And then I'm just going to deepen and darken that color a bit with a little Gathered Twigs Distress Oxide ink. I am using all Distress Oxides today for all of my ink blending and coloring here. Then the next layer, and it's really pretty self-explanatory. There is a 4th stencil. I had to film this a little out of order. That's a whole nother story. I had to go back and actually refilm this portion. The stamping the backgrounds and this, I don't know what happened. I thought I got it on camera, but that part of the footage is completely missing, so I actually had to go back and refilm this. That stencil is being washed, and you'll see why when I do my bonus card here in a bit, but it will kind of help show you how to line them up. But I am stenciling that second layer with a couple of green Distress Oxide in Crushed Olive and Forest Moss, which I know it looks horrible with the stencil on, but when I remove it, how awesome does it look? I can't get over it. Let's grab some Fossilized Amber, and we'll also use some Gathered Twigs here again to deepen and darken. And we have our third layer. When I lift this one up, you're really going to start seeing that it is looking very amazing. I cannot recommend this stencil set enough. Look at that, you guys. Isn't it beautiful? I am in love with this. I think it's fantastic. Okay, our final layer has some cute little acorns and a few additional leaves. We're going to ink these up with Gathered Twigs first and deepen and darken things with ground espresso. So looks like I'm using about 6 Distress Oxide inks today in some of my favorite fall colors. When I lift this up, our background is completely finished. So this is our first background. I'm going to set this aside while I work on the second one, and we'll come back to this in a little bit to add our sentiment. So next I have some smooth white cardstock, and I am stamping leaves from the Autumn Leaves 6x8 stamp set, another brand new product from the Make Merry 2020 release. I actually did this twice on 2 different panels. Probably if I had kept my paper in a half sheet of 8.5 by 11, I could have gotten them all with one pass, but I didn't. So, and I wasn't really quite sure how many I was going to need. I stamped them with clear embossing ink, and I'm heat embossing with white embossing powder. This is for all of the leaves. I'm not going to share the stamping and embossing of all of them, just simply to save a little time, and that's not the most fun part anyway. And that way we can get to the inking, which is the good part. I am taking my Distress Oxides and adding color. This is the Crackling Campfire, of course. And again, just kind of deepening and darkening that color with a little gathered twigs. We have our crushed olive and forest moss again. And I am doing embossed resist here. So this is just the leaves. We're going to die cut them with the coordinating dies, and they're going to look good. They don't look good right now, but they are going to look good. And then finally, fossilized amber and gathered twigs. And when I do a few extras, I will ink up a couple more with gathered twigs and ground espresso. So I guess I did keep the inking part of that in the video. So here you can see those. And off to the left, you can see that I have gone ahead and die cut some of the leaves that I already added ink to and die cut. And how awesome do they look on that khaki reverse crackle background? So good, right? I really was thrilled with this. I don't know what it is, but I'm addicted to my background stamps right now. I'm addicted to making my own pattern paper looking backgrounds. Just for added fun and interest, please be sure to check out my video that I'm linking at the end of this one. It has some more brand new Simon Says Stamp Make Merry cards in it. They're all gnomes and things, but the backgrounds for those cards, also a brand new background stamp from Simon Says Stamp, and I can't get enough of it. It's snowflakes, and guys, it is so, so good. I also forgot to tell you, when I did those first leaves, I did spritz them with a little water from a distress sprayer first to give them some oxidation. And I'm going to let that dry. You do not want to try taping your die cuts in place while it's still wet, because it might kind of tear the paper or whatever. So I actually kind of did a whole bunch of stuff off camera. I am prepping sentiments right now. I'm gathering up any other supplies I think I'm going to need, all the things while that is drying. And then I will take the coordinating dies, line them up, and run that through my die cutting machine to get the rest of my die cut leaves. So now we have all of our leaves, and I'm going to go ahead and glue them in place on this reverse crackle khaki background. The ink has dried a bit, so now, has dried all the way, and it's really smoothed out. It's not that blotchy looking. It's just that great crackle effect, which is so awesome. So it really looks like a background that you maybe worked really hard to create the crackle technique on, but it's actually super duper easy because it's just a background stamp. Really recommend this background a lot. I think it works fantastic. You can change it up with any kind of color. I obviously used some nice neutrals today so that it would really offset the beauty of the jewel tone fall leaves. I am making sure my leaves are hanging off the edge of my panel. I'm attaching them with liquid glue. When I have everything attached the way I want it, I'm going to trim any excess away and fill in any little gaps with extra little bits and bobs if I need to. I think I'm going to take like one tip of a green leaf and place that in one little area, but otherwise I think I've got it pretty well covered. It looks amazing, and I'm very happy with this background. So this is background number 2 as far as our all the feels with fall leaves. This one just features die cut leaves right on top of that crackle background. Doesn't it just feel like fall to you? I love that. Now, once I have these first 2 backgrounds, I have die cut the brand new Thankful for You dies from Gold Mirror, and then also an assortment of cardstock. And I backed, well, first I'm going to adhere the Gold Mirror cardstock piece to my background. I'm using a T-square ruler to help get it lined up perfectly. And this is the little piece that's going to be the background, and also has the For You part die cut there hanging off the edge. So it's nice and subtle, really, really cute. Nice and classic and elegant, I think. And then I'm going to take some nice ivory colored cardstock here, and I'm going to back the panel with double-sided adhesive. This is going to serve to attach it to the Gold Mirror cardstock rectangle, and as an inlay for all those letters. So I have also die cut Thankful from an assortment of jewel tone cardstock, and I'm going to fill in the letters with this kind of a rainbow of jewel tone here, a jewel tone rainbow, I guess I want to say. So pretty. And I think it really sets off the card. These are fairly clean and simple, at least for me they are. And this just takes it up a little notch to have all those different colors. Now over where the A is, instead of doing an inlay, I actually opted to take a little brown clay heart accent and add that there to the heart. And I think it gives it just a touch of whimsy that I really like. We're going to take a couple of colors of Nouveau Crystal Drops in gold and scatter those throughout our card to finish it off. And again, just add that additional little embellishment that looks really nice. And then both of these panels will be attached to white top fold card bases. So easy, so fun. Aren't these new products amazing? I had thought I was done. I knew I had stamped multiple Crackle backgrounds at once because I had my stamp out. In my MISTI, I often will stamp multiples and I can use them for other cards later on if I'm not going to use them for a video. And I had quit what I was doing. I walked away. I was actually going to pick up my son and run some errands, and this idea hit me and I really wanted to try it and see what it looks like. So we're actually going to be creating the same background we created for the first card with the layering stencils. We're going to do the exact same thing with everything. So Crackling Campfire with gathered twigs, that's our first layer. The second layer we're going to have crushed olive and forest moss. I think the only difference here is I did my ink layering and blending on a khaki background instead of the fossil. So the first card I shared with you was that lighter color, which is called Fossil from Simon Says Stamp, and this is the khaki from Simon Says Stamp. Looks great on either one. That's a good plus. But remember when I said that this stencil set actually comes in a set of 5. So there's the layering stencils, and then there's this stencil that has all of the shapes. So it's a really good guide because it shows you where everything goes. Or if you just want to stencil with one stencil and not do all the layering, that comes in this set. So you're really getting a ton of great stencils in this. Well, what I want to try to do is do each individual layer, just like the first card. And then we're going to take that last stencil that has all of the leaf images and acorns and everything in it, and we're going to layer it over it and add a great little sparkly product, my very, very favorite. It's the Gina K Glitz Glitter Gel in white. I think is what I used. Iridescent would be great too. It probably would show the color a little bit more, but I really kind of wanted that muted little tone to it. So let's see how it turns out. I'm actually really jazzed about it. I think it looks amazing, and it's just something completely different. This is the third layer right now. That's going to be Fossilized Amber and Gathered Twigs again. And I'm really trying to buzz through this fast. I just think it's magical. I love the layering stencils. I wish all stencils came in layering, any of them that are detailed like this. I just think it's incredible and gives you so many more options, and it's so much easier than trying to mask things off. I will do it because I, am crazy like that, I guess. And we're crafters, so we will do what we need to do to get the job done, right? But I love that you don't have to with this. You can see I'm just holding it in place. I didn't even, adhere it down with pixie spray or anything. I didn't tape it down. I'm just grabbing my stencil, grabbing my ink and blender brush and doing it. Okay, we have all of our colors, and then look at this. Look at that, you guys. I didn't even work very hard at making sure it was lined up, and it lines up perfectly. I am thrilled. I'm going to take a palette knife and this Gina K Glitz Glitter Gel, and I'm going to place it on there, and I am taking my stencil pal, and I'm going to just scrape that all over the panel until the entire thing is covered. I want a nice, very, very thin layer because although it's going to kind of mute the color a bit and give it that glittery look, I don't want it to be super thick. I still want it to be a nice flat card. Our other two cards are nice and flat. This one's just going to have a bit more texture and of course a little bit more glitz and glamour because it's going to be sparkly. I highly recommend washing your stencil, palette knife, stencil pal, all of that right away or you will regret it. So I am going to take a little break and go clean that up and I'll be right back. Let's add our final sentiment to this last card panel. It's just like the others. I had lots of leftover letters, so I didn't have to die cut anything else. We're going to add some of those Nouveau crystal drops around this card too. A little heart accent right over the A, the center of the letter A. Place this on our white top fold card base, and that is our third and bonus card all finished. So 3 fun fall leaves ideas that I hope inspire you when creating some thankful or fall themed cards. Let's take a look again at all 3 cards just to remind you what all we created today. Here they are all together. Grab those other 2 really quick. All the same colors, a lot of the same product, but 3 different looks. So hopefully you will create some of your own. I can't wait to see. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for these thankful cards featuring brand new Make Merry stamps, dies, and stencils from Simon Says Stamp. The supplies I used to create my cards are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here is another video featuring Simon Says Stamp Make Merry products that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell to never miss a new card making video. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.